America is increasing its military presence in the Pacific as threats from North Korea intensify, with the country claiming final approval has been given for a nuclear strike against the United States. South Korea says the North has moved a missile within considerable range of their coast, but added it couldn't hit America anyway, the mainland at least. Meanwhile, the United States is moving missile interceptors to its base in Guam, where 6,000 servicemen and women are based.
For a second day, the only symbol of cross-border communication has remained closed. More than 800 South Korean workers have chosen to stay inside Kaesong, 6 miles over the border in the north. They've kept the industrial zone running. But the north continues to prevent any movement in and out.
When the situation is not stable and unsure like this, it's really hard, especially for the workers, because it's their job and all the production bases are in Kaesong.
I only hope that South and North Korea have a good dialogue and reach an agreement so that we can work in Kaesong without worries.
This, though, is the only physical sign on the border, at least, of the tensions. The rest of it is just words, albeit alarming ones. The latest language from Pyongyang talks of merciless military strikes and suggests war could begin today or tomorrow. These are the likely targets, South Korean islands west of Seoul. If they were hit, as they were 2 years ago, South Korea and America would be forced to respond. And then there's Seoul itself, a city of 10 million and just 35 miles from the border with the north.
We consider a North missile launch is always a possibility, and we've got our measures ready for it. We're ready to respond if the North launches a missile. We're closely monitoring the situation.
Travel advice to South Korea hasn't changed, a sign you'd assume that governments around the world are not too worried. And Seoul is used to these sorts of threats. It seems no one here is about to stop and worry. But at the back of everyone's minds is an unpredictable man on the nuclear threshold. More American hardware is in the region, including a warship and missile defense system in Guam.
As they have ratcheted up their bellicose, dangerous rhetoric, and some of the actions they've taken over the last few weeks present a real and clear danger and threat to the interests, certainly, of our allies, starting with South Korea and Japan, and also the threats that the North Koreans have leveled directly at the United States.
It is then an uncomfortable game of brinkmanship. A preemptive strike by either side may be unlikely, but an accident or misunderstanding is genuinely worrying. Mark Stone, Sky News in Seoul.
And the Australian government is expected to appeal to China's leadership to put pressure on Pyongyang to cool the aggression. But Dr. Ji Chen from the University of Western Australia has told Sky News Beijing is limited in the influence it wields on the Korean Peninsula.
I'm sort of expecting that Prime Minister Gillard will hear very familiar rhetoric from her Chinese host. After all, I think, although on the one hand it is a cliche in the Western diplomatic world that China should do something about North Korea, as if China should be treated as a part of a pair, which includes Beijing and Pyongyang. I would say, if Beijing can do something which can be, decisive in changing North Korean policy, then that something would have been done.